Hey guys, welcome to Trieyx in my Kingdom Hearts Union Cross video. Okay, in today's video, I kind of want to talk about my thoughts on the entire story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, but to basically summarize this video, I think Kingdom Hearts Union Cross's story is my favorite or the best out of all the Kingdom Hearts games so far, in my opinion. Can't forget that last part because, you know, it's not like it's a fact or anything, it's my opinion, but yeah, I personally love Kingdom Hearts Union Cross's story more than I did the other Kingdom Hearts games. Prior to me reading all the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross like cutscenes and stuff, my favorite Kingdom Hearts game in terms of story was 358 over 2 days. Like that game I loved a lot. I remember when I first played that game, I could not put that game down. Like I literally beat the game in like a week, which is really fast for me. Like it takes me forever to beat a game, so to beat a game in a week is kind of insane. Not only that, I guess it's also a DS game, so it probably wasn't really that long. But yeah, anyways, this is the new, or I guess the, offline version of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. I kind of want to make a video, showing this, so I was like, you know what, let's combine, this video and, me talking about the story in, like, one video. So, yes, this is, like, the offline version, so not too bad. It's kind of cut off because Square Enix didn't really fix the whole thing. Like, it's perfect when you watch cutscenes, but it's not, perfect when you're in, like, this menu. So it's kind of cut off, unfortunately. I kind of have to fix that. Anyway, hope you guys like my new layout as well. I know it's kind of late, but I finally, just changed up the layout a little bit. I put my character there and Strela Seals over there. I also, moved some stuff around and kind of made the screen a little bit better. So, yeah. Alright, but yeah, anyways, while I talk about the story, I think I'm going to go through some cutscenes. So, yeah, let's go into theater mode, and then we're going to, check out, I don't know, I wish it was like autoplay or something, because I kind of wanted to play while I talk about the story, but oh, whatever, there's no autoplay, so I guess I'll probably just start from the beginning. I don't know, while I talk. In this video, I don't really have a script, so there'll be a lot of stuff I forget, so if I forget anything, definitely I'm ready to comment down below, and definitely let me know what I forgot. But I'm not really going to go into the nitty-gritty of this game. Like, I'm not going to explain what the foretellers are, or like, stuff like that. Like, I'll probably just go through some of the things that I thought were pretty interesting, and some of my thoughts on some of the things. So basically, the story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross about your character, which is one of the main reasons why I really love the story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, because this story is about you, or like your character. It's not about Sora or anybody like that. It's you. And that's what I really love. Like, I'm a sucker for games where you can put yourself in the game. So I think even if Kingdom Hearts Union Cross's story was trash, I still think it'd probably be like #1 for me, because because it's me. Like, I can't really, I don't know, I guess like, I could complain about a story of myself, like, not being good, but at the same time, like, I'm kind of a sucker for these type of things, so like, I don't think that even if the story was bad, I would hate it. But yeah, that's the one thing that drew me into Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, is that this story is about your character. And I also really like how our character actually played a role in the events of Kingdom Hearts. Like, I kind of explained, but like, a lot of stuff that happened in Kingdom Hearts is because of your character. Kind of a spoiler, but at this point you guys probably already know the story, but your character becomes Xehanort, and if Xehanort wasn't around in Kingdom Hearts, like, there wouldn't be a Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, the fact that your character plays such an important role in Kingdom Hearts, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, there's also another thing I kind of got wrong, or like, I guess one of the things I didn't really notice when I was watching the cutscene the first time around, that I didn't notice that your player like reincarnated into Xehanort. I was kind of too busy commentating. Not like that, but I was exhausted. It was like a 5-hour or something recording session, so yeah, like, I don't even want to think about that. I missed a lot of stuff basically, but the biggest reason why I love Kingdom Hearts Union Cross' story more than any other Kingdom Hearts story in any other game, or Kingdom Hearts game, whatever, is because its story is about you. And I love that. It's great. But yeah, other than that, like, the Disney, worlds and stuff like that, I really enjoy like some of the banter, that happen in those worlds. Like, if you guys want to see like the Disney cutscene and stuff like that, I have a whole watch through or something. I don't know what it's called. Let's watch of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross' story. So definitely check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I watch all like the Disney cutscenes and also the main cutscenes, and the Disney cutscenes, they're pretty good. Like, a lot of them are like filler, and it's kind of boring. Like, you obviously want to get to the good stuff, which is like the main story stuff, but like, I kind of thought that they were kind of boring at first, like at least before I read the cutscene. But after reading the cutscenes, at least like watching all of them. I really love the writing, pretty decent, but what I really love is the banter. Like basically the silly things that your character gets up to with some of Disney characters. Like that's what I really love. Like there's some like Twitter clips of me, being stupid while reading the the story, and just like making fun of some of the stuff that happened in the story in the Disney world. Like it's great. it basically it's like the calm before the storm. Like because Kingdom Hearts Across the story is kind of depressing. So like the Disney world are very like lighthearted, or at least for the most part it kind of is lighthearted, and it's just overall a lot of fun and kind of brings you to like a different side of the story. Like brings you to like the fun and happy times like before you get to the depressing stuff. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross's story, it kind of split up into different parts. Like there's Kingdom Hearts Chi, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and then there is the back cover as well. So if you guys didn't know, Kingdom Hearts Ki is everything that happened before the Keyblade War. So yeah, like it's basically your character going around collecting luck, stuff like that. And then Kingdom Hearts Union Cross is everything after the Keyblade War. And then back cover is basically Kingdom Hearts Ki, but in the foreteller's perspective. So yeah, it's very confusing. Like I don't like how they split it up into like 3 different games. Not only that, but they put in like a mobile game of all things. So a lot of people have not experienced the story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, but like, I'm really hoping one day they decide to remake this game, because this game is such a crucial part in the Kingdom Hearts story. And I feel like if they remade it, a lot more people will be able to, experience the story. Not only that, but they'll like, actually be able to, see the characters in like the Unreal Engine, because I think that'd be really cool. To see like the foreteller, well not foreteller, we've seen the foretellers, but like, Ephemera. Oh no, we've seen Ephemera as well. Okay, maybe like Gald, Shalizia, characters like that in the Unreal Engine. Like I think that'd be great. Chances are they're probably gonna make a movie out of this game, but I would love to see them actually make a remake of this game, because I think the remake of this game would bang. I basically think it will sell a lot of copies, because I don't know, I feel like a lot of people really like to make their own characters, and especially since Kingdom Hearts is such a big franchise, like I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to be a Keyblade wielder like Sora and make their own characters and play like alongside some of like their favorite characters. So I feel like that game will do really well. I'll talk more about that in my like next video when I talk about like what my thoughts are on a remake of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross. But yeah, I basically think it will do really well. But anyways, back to the story. So yeah, I kind of explained how the storyline kind of works, so it's like the timeline, I guess, of how like of back cover, Key, and Union Cross, and oh yeah, also Unchained Key. It's kind of Unchained Key. So Unchained Key is basically, it's kind of hard to explain. It's basically how it works is that Kingdom Hearts Key is everything before the Keyblade War, and Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key is the part after the Keyblade War, where once the characters are asleep, like Unchained Key is everything up to the Keyblade War of the player's dream, I guess, or sleep. It's hard to explain. But essentially, think of Union Cross, like the game, as one half. So like Kingdom Hearts Key, it like the real world basically, where the character's actually alive and doing stuff. And then Kingdom Hearts Unchained Key is after the war, where they're in like the data world and they're sleeping basically, and they're going through all the events all over again, but up until the Keyblade War. And then on Union Cross, it basically, the same thing, but everything after the Keyblade War, while the character's still sleeping and stuff like that. Or I guess he's not sleeping anymore, because that's after the war and stuff. But and then back cover is like basically Kingdom Hearts Key, but like the foreteller's perspective. So it's very confusing. It's hard to explain. But I guess to make it easier, you can combine Unchained Key and Union Cross together. Like, basically it's the same game, so to make it easier, you guys can do that. But yeah, it's very confusing. Oh my goodness, man. But I'm probably not gonna go through or talk about the beginning stuff, like everything like leading up to Keyblade War, because a lot of you guys probably know that. Like basically, there's a traitor, or like the foreteller thought they were a traitor because the Master told them to be a traitor, and the Master told them that there's gonna be a war and stuff like that. And then after that, everybody kind of got suspicious of other people. So that's how the whole trader thing began, and Lushu get basically the roles and stuff like that. I'm probably not gonna talk about that. A lot of you guys probably know that stuff, but you guys want me to talk about that, I could write a comment about that. But for the most part, you guys probably already know all the foreteller's roles, everything basically leading up to the Keyblade War. You guys probably already know that. So I'm not gonna go over that. I'm probably gonna talk more about everything that happens after the Keyblade War. So after the Keyblade War, your character goes to sleep, and then like the 5 union leaders, they kind of meet up together, like Ephemer, Skull, Ventus, Luarium, and Brain. They all meet up, and then basically like there was 2 different worlds, like the data world of Daybreak Town, and then there was like the real Daybreak Town, which for the most part I think they kind of travel between the 2. All the dandelions, I believe, they stayed in the data world. And then the foretell, they travel between the 2 worlds. And the reason why there was 2 different towns, because the data world is kind of like a backup for, like, if anything went wrong, then they have a backup of the world. Kind of like basically trying to figure out what they wanted to do with the real Daybreak Town, like the union leaders or like the dandelions. They're kind of thinking about what they want to do with it. It's after the war, like they don't know what to do. So, but yeah, after the whole Keyblade War, they kind of basically just had the whole meeting, trying to figure out what to do, and they created a whole bunch of stuff like PvP, which, oh my goodness, oh, PvP, and then, they brought out the spirits thing and whatever, so, yeah, that's kind of about it for that. Like, a lot of stuff are kind of boring. It's basically the ending with it. It's like a lot of crazy stuff happened. But after that, while they're trying to figure out what to do, like, Luarium trying to search for his sister, Strelitzia, who went missing, before the whole Keyblade War, and she was supposed to be a dandelion, like, and trying to find her and stuff like that. I really love them trying to figure out the whole mystery of Strelitzia and what happened to her, because I'm a big fan of like mystery stuff, so seeing these characters try to figure out what happened to Strelitzia, like creating their own like theories or whatever, like slowly but surely getting to the what really happened to her. I love that. I love that a lot. So Brain was basically like the smartest one. Like he had the Book of Prophecies, he had the list and stuff. He checked it, and then he was like, oh shoot, this someone here is not supposed to be a union leader. And then he's like, oh, let's talk to Ventus. And then Ventus, he talked about his side of the story, like basically a lot of stuff. Like, I love that. It was great. Like, it really hurt too, seeing like Marluxia or like Luarian finally figure out what happened to his sister. Ventus, his guilt of what he did, even though he didn't really do anything. And everybody just figuring out, like, it's great. Like, also them bringing Elrena or Arena or whatever her name is into the story as well. Like, I love how they included the arc scene in there. It's kind of cool. But like the whole finding out what happened to Strelitzia arc is really good. Like, that's one of the biggest things that really hooked me into the story. Just the whole mystery happened, and also they're trying to figure out why Darkness, or I guess Vanitas, like attacked Strelitzia, whatever. Also the biggest thing of like finding out who killed her. That was great as well. Oh, it wasn't really great, but it was very interesting. To figure out the whole motive behind that, which is because Vanitas was like, oh, Ventus wants power, and stuff like that, and then he just took out Strelitzia. But I'm pretty sure there's more to that. I don't think just because Ventus wants more power. I think you sort of need someone with pure light to kind of move on to to the next world or whatever, or the future Kingdom Hearts. So yeah, not only that, but Vanitas also wants to travel Ventus as well, since he's inside of him. So I'm pretty sure that's probably the reason why. But that whole arc was amazing. Like, I loved it. It was great. It just sucks what happened to Strelitzia. Like, they basically killed off, which kind of stinks. She does play a bigger role, or she probably will play a bigger role in the future, but it was very interesting for sure. Like, it also really sucked that she died. Like, I remember when Strelitzia first announced, everybody's like, oh cool, a new character, and then the next few cutscenes, like, they just killed her off. Oh my goodness, that was hilarious when they first came out. But that's kind of about the gist of everything leading up to like the ending. Like, the story Kingdom Hearts Cross wasn't really that crazy. Like, a lot of the good stuff like before happened at the end, so it was just everything to the build up of what is happening now. And like, eventually the darkness, they kind of revealed themselves. Basically everybody battled the darkness and stuff. And then one of the coolest scenes in Kingdom Hearts Cross, I think, was when your player character kind of jumps in like during the fight with the dandelion and like the darkness, or I think it was Vanitas. So that's pretty cool. Kind of like in Kingdom Hearts 3 where Sora, when he comes to save Riku, he does that whole dramatic entrance when he comes down. Like, the player character kind of did the same thing, and that was pretty cool. But I don't think I'm missing anything, like, at least anything that's important. I could be wrong, but... Oh, also another thing is, like, how this game had Wreck-It Ralph as an actual world. I thought it was pretty cool as well. Like, how they also tied that into the story of the glitches and whatever. Them finding out, you know, the whole glitches, you know, being in the world, like, oh shoot, we're actually not in the real world, we're in the data world. Somehow we got sent here or something. Or maybe we didn't actually go back and they thought that they were in the real world. That was pretty cool as well. For the most part, I think it's kind of about everything that's crazy. Like, I don't want the video to be too long, so I kind of like skipping through stuff, but for the most part, I think it's everything up to there. And then them trying to figure out how to get out of the whole world, and them having to, like, you know, use the pods to like get out, or the lifeboats or something, whatever they're called, and get out. And then like Ephemera, Scald, and your player character staying together, which it's kind of cool because basically that's like the trio, like the, I don't know, Union Cross trio or whatever. Like, you know, your character is Sora, and then Ephemera is like Riku, and then what's called Scald is like Kairi, basically with the trio. Those three stay behind, and then Luarium, Ventus, Elrena, and Brain, they all go back to the real Daybreak Town. I also have to mention is that finding out what happened to Maleficent after Kingdom Hearts 1, seeing her kind of, you know, go back in time to try to change stuff that happened, and her getting stuck in the data world was very convoluted in itself, like the world being created by the Book of Prophecies. I'm not gonna get into that because it's gonna be convoluted, so yeah. But seeing what happened to her and how she came back was great as well. That's awesome. The reason why Maleficent came back was because people really liked her as a villain, which is why Nomura brought her back. But seeing him tie that, like, or basically finding out how she came back was pretty cool. But yeah, after, you know, all your characters, they kind of separate, like the Dandelions and whatever, and your character and Scald and Ephemera, they kind of separated, and Luarium, Elrena, and Ventus, those three get sent off into the future by Brain, and that's how you see them today. Like, I guess because like when Brain sent those three to the future, they probably sent them at the same time, or at least I think Brain sent them at the same time, so that's why they're all like around the same time period together, whereas everybody else is kind of separated. Either that, or I don't know, because you kind of need like a medium, like you kind of need something, you know, some kind of item, as well as someone with memories of you to bring you back, or at least get your body back in the future. So maybe it's not so much that Brain sent them to the same time period, but maybe around that same time period is when all three of them had that medium, like that item, as well as the memories, I guess. I don't know. It's very hard to explain. Like, I'm not sure they even explained it, like how the whole thing works. Can you control like where you get sent, like, or at least what time period you get sent to, or do you get sent to a point where, you know, once you have that medium and the memories, you get sent there? Like, I don't know. Hard to explain, but yeah. And also seeing Lucio, you know, and Masters in the Daybreak Town, or Data Daybreak Town, I'm not sure which one it was, but seeing them there while you know, everything that happened is kind of awesome, because you kind of thought that they kind of just disappeared. But to see them there is kind of awesome. Yeah, and also seeing, you know, the extended cutscenes of Lucio and the Master talking to each other, and basically them, I think they were in like the whole control room in the Daybreak Town, which I think they were in the control room before the Keyblade War. I think the whole conversation happened before the Keyblade War, where they like disappeared, but they didn't really disappear. They kind of went to the Daybreak Town and kind of watched everything that happened, kind of like planning out what they want to do. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Seeing what happened to them after they disappeared in the real world is really awesome. So yeah, also the extended cutscenes where they talked more about, I guess, Lucio's role, and the Master was like, oh, there's no traitor, like I kind of made that up so darkness can take over like the Foreteller's body, and about the Union leader Dandelion body as well. That was like a crazy plan, which I thought was pretty cool. But yeah, and then at the end, where Lucio was like, oh man, this plan is crazy, you're insane. And then he kind of accepted everything that happened, and it's like, oh, or whatever. And then, you know, the Master was like, okay, yeah, you heart be guiding key, and then like traitor Lushu, and then I was like, oh my goodness, like Lushu playing the part of the traitor, like, even though there's no traitor. Like, it's kind of something that I thought of when I watched the whole cutscene, the back cover. I kind of thought that there's no traitor. Like, I never thought there was a traitor. Like, after watching the movie anyway. Like, when I'm watching the movie, obviously my thought shifted between who's the traitor. But once I finished the movie, I was like, there's no traitor. Like, none of these characters, I can tell, like, none of them are the traitor. Like, there's no traitor. I feel like this is all some kind of plot or ploy for something else. And finding out what that something else is kind of awesome. And I guess, technically speaking, Lushu's the traitor, but he's not. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Getting back to, you know, what happened near the end. After, like, Marluxia and the gang kind of get sent to the future, Brain stays behind, and then he meets up with Lushu. And Lushu is like, oh, what are you doing here? Stuff like that. And what happened to, like, the 5th dandelion person? And Brain was like, oh, you know, she died. Because firstly, you know, got killed off, so. And Lushu was like, oh, it's a shame. But yes, then seeing Lushu prior to Brain being there, he sent something off to the future, which was thought to be, you know, Strelitzia's data, I guess. Because we see a cutscene where Elrena's, like, Chirti is kind of chilling up on the roof, and then he sees someone in a black hood walking with someone who looks like Strelitzia. And they were thinking, like, that could be her. Like, you kind of see a cutscene with Luarium. He basically in the field of flowers, and you're talking to Strelitzia or whatever. And then all of a sudden, you know, the wind blows, and then some, like, white hooded, like, figure comes down. And as, like, you see the hair that's Strelitzia. And once you see, like, the hooded figure walk with the person with the white hood, you can't really see the hair anymore, so you can't really tell it's Strelitzia. It might not even be Strelitzia, for all I know. But eventually, it's kind of like not foreshadowing, but it's kind of making you think that it's her. And then when he sent that to the future, like, oh, this is the true dandelion. Like, if that is Strelitzia, it's kind of cool to see her, like, play a bigger role. Like, when I saw that when Nomura killed her off so quickly, I'm like, she has to do, like, or at least play a bigger role in the future. There's no way they created a character like her and then not even use her like that. So I think it's Strelitzia, but I'm not exactly sure. But yeah, in terms of Strelitzia's, like, Strelitzia technically dead. Like, I think her heart got sent, or at least it isn't, like, Luarium's heart, I guess. It's kind of like how Ventus's heart was kind of inside Sora, and, like, Xian's heart inside Sora's, and Rox's heart inside Sora's. Like, I think Strelitzia's heart is inside Luarium, and, you know, with her data, I think they could probably bring her back, like, using, like, a replica or something in the future. So, yeah, I think she will come back in the future, which is great. Not only that, but her medal was available in the game, and how medals work in this game is that metal basically borrows power from the future. So when you like use a Sora medal, you're borrowing Sora's power from the future and using it now. So the fact that Strelitzia had a medal kind of, you know, supports that theory, I guess. So yes, I'm pretty sure it's gonna come back, which is great. Oh, the whole mystery of what happens to Strelitzia is great. I really want to know who that white robe character is, but I guess we'll find out in the future. But yeah, I don't want the video too long, so I kind of want to wrap this up. So I'm gonna go through this hopefully quickly. But yeah, after Lushu talked to Brain or whatever, we don't really see what happens, but eventually Lushu kind of takes over Brain's body. I'm not sure what happens, like, because Brain is also in Scala at Kylum. Let's go through that a little bit. But yeah, after that, you play a character, and Skull and Ephemera are kind of stuck in Data World, and the Four Darknesses come, and then you play a character, you know, kind of tricks the dark and pretends like he's evil, and, you know, attacks Skull and Ephemera, and you kind of have the whole battle at the end, which was really cool. And some of the animations for the fight was really awesome as well, with Ephemera and Skull. And your character overpowers Ephemera and Skull because, you know, the noobs. Like, your character is way stronger than them. And then after Ephemera kind of kills your character by shooting a beam, or at least didn't even kill him, but basically damages or wounds your character and sends him to, like, a portal thingy, and then he closes up so he can't get out. And once, you know, that fight is over, Ephemera and Skull, they head back to the real Daybreak Town to see what happened, and then after that, you know, they go into the pod and get sent to the future. Or I guess Skull got sent to the future. Ephemera sort of did, but he not really. He basically got sent to, like, the future. Like, I feel like it's probably like a couple days after everything that happened. Like, I guess you can count that as the future, but not really. But yeah, and also your character being stuck, in like, I don't know what that thing is, some kind of like tunnel or whatever, and then having 4 darknesses there, thinking they won, but they really didn't, and your character steals the other, side of the portal, and that way everybody, or at least the 4 darknesses as well as your character, is stuck there forever, which I feel like a pretty satisfying ending for the character. Like, I think it's pretty cool. Like, basically, the characters save the dandelions from having to accept the darkness, because like the Master's plan was, to have everybody kind of accept the darkness side of them, and that's how they're gonna beat the darkness. But the character himself defeated 4 of the darknesses by tricking them. I thought it was pretty cool. Like, like the reason why the dandelions are able to do what they do, like Ephemera, Brain, everybody like that, is because of the character. So I thought it was pretty awesome. But yeah, after that, your character kind of dies, I guess, in that weird tunnel, and then that's how the ending comes. And then you see the entire Daybreak town kind of just get destroyed. All the Keyblade wielders kind of turn into... Oh, the Keyblade wielders, they have 2 options. Either they can sleep and become Dream Eaters, or 2, they cannot sleep and then they meld and become a new heart. Or get reincarnated, basically. So most of the, or at least I think all of the Keyblade wielders, or dandelions, I guess, they kind of chose to sleep. So a lot of them, body disappeared, the heart comes out, and then the charity accepts the heart and they become Dream Eaters. So I don't think, I'm not sure. I have a feeling that our player character is probably not the only person who decided not to sleep and become a new character. I would not be shocked if one day in the future there is a character out there that decides to become a new heart. Oh, can you imagine? I'm thinking right now, can you imagine Demyx? Because we know Luke's sword is Yozora's the driver or whatever. But can you imagine Demyx was actually a dandelion, but he's also like the player character. He chose not to sleep, so he became into a new heart, and then he is Demyx now. Like, obviously in Union Cross he's not Demyx, he's like someone else, but he reincarnated into Demyx. That'd be so cool, because Demyx, like from Kingdom Hearts 3, you find out he has some sort of ties with the past, I guess, or like the Kingdom Hearts Union Cross stuff, basically. So that would be pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie, but I highly doubt it. I think Demyx is something else. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, basically, in that scene, where your character's like, nah, you know what? I think I'm gonna meld and become a new heart. Like, my journey's not over, and stuff like that. Or he said something else. Like, I don't know what he said. But and then you see the player character hug his charity. They say goodnight, which I kind of threw me off, because I thought when they said goodnight, I thought he actually fell asleep. So that's why I kind of thought that you can bring the player character back in the future, because I thought he was just sleeping, but he's not. But you see both the charity and the player character disappear, and then the heart comes out, and then flies away into, like, I guess whatever, into the new heart. Which, before the player character disappears, you see some cutscenes of Xehanort, which kind of confused me at first. I was like, baby Xehanort, but I was like, why are we seeing cutscenes of baby Xehanort? Like, which basically symbolizes the character kind of got reincarnated into Xehanort, which I missed. And it also explains why Dark Road is in this game, like, basically in the same game. Because Dark Road is basically the sequel, what happens to Union Cross, so yeah, that's why Xehanort is the main character in Dark Road. So yeah, it makes so much more sense now. Yeah, also in that cutscene where you see baby Xehanort, you see like a person that looks like Scald, and I'm pretty sure that's not Scald. It's like probably Xehanort's mom, but we don't know who it is. Honestly, my thought before that, because you see Brain go into Scala at Kylum after Ephemera creates it, so I was thinking, what if Xehanort is like Brain's son? I was thinking, because Brain, he's the ancestor of Ericus. That's what everybody thinks, that Brain is the ancestor of, or at least like the dad or whatever of Ericus. So I'm thinking, what if Brain had 2 sons? Could you see in some of the materials that like Ericus and Xehanort, they kind of refer to each other as brothers? So I'm thinking, what if they're actually, brothers, like, but got separated at birth? That would be pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. That would be pretty cool. Like, Brain is the dad of both Ericus and Xehanort, and then, Brain's wife, or like the girl, or like Xehanort's mom, whatever. Assuming my theory that girl is like Brain's wife or whatever. Like, it's probably not, but whatever. And then, she gives Xehanort away, where Ericus stays in, Scala Kylum, and eventually Xehanort comes back and trains, and becomes a Keyblade wielder. No, I don't know. And also that whole hooded figure, like nobody knows like who that old person is who takes Xehanort. Like people thinking that's Ephemera, but who knows? But very interesting stuff. Like if Xehanort and Ericus were brothers, that would be pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie. And then after, you know, the player character disappears, like you see what happened to Ephemera. Ephemera basically got sent to like a couple days after like the whole, you know, Daybreak Town got destroyed, and then once he got there, he rebuilt the entire Daybreak Town into Scarlet Icylum. Like you guys see in Kingdom Hearts 3 in the fight with Xehanort, under Scarlet Icylum is Daybreak Town, and on top of Daybreak Town is Scarlet Icylum. So it basically symbolizes that Scarlet Icylum was rebuilt from Daybreak Town. That was built on top of Daybreak Town, which I guess is technically true because the Daybreak Town, you got kind of destroyed, like all of the pieces of Daybreak Town kind of underwater. So yeah, so I guess technically speaking, Scarlet Icylum was built on top of Daybreak Town, but yeah. And then we see Marluxia, Alrena, and Ventus in like the present time where Sora is. Ventus in the Keyblade Graveyard, Marluxia and Alrena were in Dwarf Woodlands, and we don't know what happened to Brain. We're not sure what Luxu did with him. Whether he just stole his body but sent Brain's heart somewhere else, or he took Brain's body, used him, and then eventually kind of like not throw him away, but kind of tossed him aside, like basically saying like, oh, you can continue your life in the future. So yeah, maybe that's why he just borrowed his body, but eventually once, you know, he got what he wanted, he changed to a different body and then had Brain live the rest of his life in Scarlet Icylum. So yeah, we're not exactly sure. I think that'll be explained in the future, but yeah, you see Brain there, you see Siegfried, you know, being like, oh, we're expecting you, which I think is because Ephemera read the Book of Prophecies and kind of expected Brain to be there at that time and at that date. So it's kind of like Dragon Ball, where Trunks is like, oh, I know exactly, or like when Goku's gonna pop up in like the Cell Saga. So it's kind of something like that. But yeah, Brain with Siegfried exploring the world, and then he runs into the statue of Ephemera, and it's like, oh, that's my friend. Like, oh, I'm so proud of him and stuff like that. So, and then I think Brain lives the rest of his life in Scarlet Icylum, and you know, settles down and has kids, and one of them, which is Ericus, and if my theory is right, is like Xehanort is like, you know, the second child of you know, Brain. Kind of cool. But I think by the time Brain gets to Scarlet Icylum, I think Ephemera is already dead. I could be wrong, but chances are he's probably dead. There's no way the hooded figure could be Ephemera. It could be Luxu, which is pretty interesting as well. Luxu sends Xehanort to Destiny Islands, and then his old vessel kind of dies off. Maybe finds a little body or something, I don't know, whatever. Something happens. Or maybe Luxu controls Xehanort. Like once the old person dies, Luxu switches over to Xehanort, brings him over to Daybreak Town, and then switches to a different body. Like, and then it kind of kills two birds, one stone by finding a new host while also sending Xehanort to Scarlet Icylum, but I don't know. Maybe something like that, but I think that's kind of about it. I mean, you see some cutscenes way before everything happened, like the Master talking to the Darkness, saying how he wants to go to the world of fiction, which I guess is kind of cool. Like, you kind of see how he got to the world of fiction and how you kind of figured out Quadratum and how to get there and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, also that one scene where you see, you know, Luxu in the Keyblade Graveyard. He takes off the hood, and then you see Luxu's face, and he's holding the box. It's basically the end of the back cover cutscene, but it's basically extended where you actually see his face. That's pretty cool. Other than that, I think it's kind of about it. Like, the video is getting really long. My voice is kind of dying, so I kind of want to end the video. So, yeah, overall, the story of this game was really good. I liked it a lot. I love how a character played a part in the story. I love how most of the characters got a satisfying ending. The only thing I didn't like about the story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, and it's basically like a minor thing, like this before, like the whole story is great. I love everything that happened. Everything was great. But the only thing I didn't really like is how the player character couldn't interact with Strelitzia. Like, the whole point of Strelitzia's character is to be able to talk to the player character, or wanting to talk to the player character, and the fact that she can't really do that, it kind of stinks for her character. Like, that was the whole point of her character, and now she can't even do that. I was thinking what the player character was in that, you know, the whole ending where everybody turned into a Dream Eater. I thought that before the player character would, you know, become Xehanort, that Shalizia will appear in like in spirit or something and be like, "Oh, I've been wanting to meet you for so long." Like, because since technically speaking, Shalizia is dead. Like, I thought they'd probably do something like that, but unfortunately they didn't. So that kind of stinks. But I guess technically speaking, like Shalizia could talk to the player character, because technically speaking, the player character reincarnated the Xehanort, so it's still possible. But you know, it's not really the player character because it's Xehanort. Xehanort is his own character, even if he is reincarnated. But I think what they're probably gonna do in the future is they're gonna do the same thing with what they did with Ericus. Like in Kingdom Hearts 3, you know how Ericus kind of took over Terra's body and was talking to Xehanort? I think they'll do the same thing in the future Kingdom Hearts, where Shalizia meets Xehanort, but the player character will take over Xehanort's body, and then they finally have that interaction, and then, you know, whatever. Maybe because Nomura probably wanted that interaction between the two be voiced. So maybe that's why they killed off the player character and saved that for the future and didn't have to interact in this game. I don't know, but it's still a possibility. All I want is for my girl Shalizia to actually live a happy life and be able to do what she wanted for so long, and that is to talk to someone who she admired the most. So I don't know. So essentially speaking, I kind of feel like everybody got a satisfying ending besides Shalizia. I mean, I guess technically speaking, she's gonna play a bigger role in the future because she kind of got sent off to the future, so I guess she kind of got a satisfying ending. But the biggest thing is that she couldn't do what she really wanted to do, and I feel like that's like the biggest gripe I have with the story. But other than that, everything else is great. Like the whole story is great. Like I said before, it's my favorite out of all the Kingdom Hearts story games or whatever. So this game was awesome. Like, I'm gonna miss this game a lot. Like, I really hope they remake this game in the future so everybody can experience this story, because it was great. And also because this story is very important to the story of Kingdom Hearts, I feel like everybody should be able to play this game and, you know, not have it locked to a mobile game. So I really hope they either make a movie or remake the game, because man, like, this is great. I would love to see these characters in the Unreal Engine, so hopefully they remake it. Like, oh my god, I'd love to play this game again, but on the PS5. Like, that'd be so cool. Oh my goodness, but I think I'll end the video right here. It's very long. My voice is kind of dying. I haven't commentated in such a long time. I kind of took a break from YouTube for like a week, so I'm not really used to commentating, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, I really like kind of talking and theorizing with you guys. Like, I haven't really done the video like this in a while. The biggest reason why I don't really do theory videos anymore, because I used to script my theory videos and I hated reading off of the script and writing a script. Like, it was such a pain in the butt. So if you guys like something like this where I kind of just wing, you know, the commentary and just talk about whatever's on my mind, definitely let me know, because I really enjoy doing these, but I'm not sure if you guys enjoy watching them. Like, everything that's before, I basically said on top of my head, so if anything I got wrong, definitely let me know. And if I forgot anything, definitely let me know as well. Like, I don't remember everything, so yeah. I'll definitely leave a comment down below if there's anything I want to talk more about. But yeah, also let me know what you guys thought about the story Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, or whether or not you think this game would get a remake or a movie, because I feel like they're going to do something, because this game is so crucial. But yeah, also, this is not going to be my last Kingdom Hearts Union Cross video. I think I'm going to do one more where I talk about, you know, the whole remake thing or movie thing, like what I think, yeah, they should do, what I think about, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely look forward to that, because I'm not sure when we'll do that video. It might be a while. I also will probably be doing a Dark Road video in the future where I watch the cutscenes, because the cutscene, at least the story of Dark Road hasn't finished yet, so I have to wait until September to do that video. And also there's gonna be a Dark Road video this week, I think. Depending on how I upload this, there should be a Dark Road video this week, like the next video, I think. So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of about it for my whole thoughts on the story of Kingdom Hearts. This game was great. I loved it a lot. I'm really glad that I played this game and I actually took the time to read the story with you guys, because that made it so much better. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of about this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys want more, you know, Kingdom Hearts videos, definitely like the subscribe button, as I plan on doing more Kingdom Hearts videos in the future, whether it be Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, Kingdom Hearts Let's Plays. Currently I'm doing Kingdom Hearts 2 Let's Plays, so yeah. And also I do Blindfold the Idiot, where basically I blindfold myself and I fight Kingdom Hearts bosses. So that series like every Saturday. So yeah, definitely, if you guys are interested, hit the like and subscribe button. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys thought about the story of Kingdom Hearts Union Cross and stuff like that. But yeah, the story is great. I loved it. Anyways, that's kind of about it. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later.